Hey everybody, hope and pray that you're doing well. Today as we come to our word from the word. And today that word is legacy. Legacy. Now when you think about that word, you think about maybe what you leave behind and what type of legacy we want to leave. And there's a lot of different even Christian songs about leaving a legacy. And at the end of the day, our legacy should be that we love Jesus. And that the only thing is when people see us, that they see him. And when they remember us, they remember the work that God did in our lives and did through us. I mean, that's the legacy that we all, I pray, that we desire to leave behind. And so here today, as we come to Numbers chapter 14 today, and as always, I pray that you're reading along with us to read. Yesterday, we were in chapter 12. But now, jumping ahead to chapter 14, you need to read to fill in the gaps because uh, God tells Moses to send out one person from each tribe, a leader from each tribe, to go out and spy the land, the promised land. Send out these spies and come back and bring a report. Well, 40 days later, they come back. And I'm summarizing this. I pray that you would read it all. Joshua and Caleb come back with a positive feedback that, hey, this is awesome land. This is what, man, God is going to give us this beautiful land. And the rest of them say, who cares about that? The guys that live there are huge, and there's no way that we'll ever be able to make it. They're too strong. They're too powerful. God brought us here to kill us all. Why didn't we just stay in Egypt? And so this is kind of what's going on. And as you can imagine, right, God is frustrated. Moses and Aaron and Caleb and Joshua are frustrated, but especially, God is at this point at the beginning of chapter 14. He basically says, look, that's fine. The verse right before this, where we're going to start today, he just basically says, look, I'm going to just wipe them all out. Moses, I'm going to start over. They're going to be even greater than the ones that you have now. So the next ones that I raise up will be even better. But this again, man, we see Moses again pleading on the behalf of others at intercessory prayer. And here today, Numbers chapter 14, starting in verse 13, he says this, and Moses said to the Lord, but then the Egyptians will hear it. For by your might you brought these people up from among them, and they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land, that they have heard you, Lord, are among these people, that you, Lord, are seen face to face, and your cloud stands above them, and you go before them in a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Now, if you kill these people as one man, then the nations which have heard of your fame will speak, saying, because the Lord was not able to bring this people to the land which he swore to give them, therefore he killed them in the wilderness. And now I pray, let the power of my Lord be great, just as you have spoken, saying, the Lord is long suffering and abundant in mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression. But he by no means clears the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generation. Pardon the iniquity of this people, I pray, according to the greatness of your mercy, just as you have forgiven this people from Egypt, even until now. Now, there's a whole lot that we could talk about just in those few verses, but I want us to focus on, he Moses is saying, look, God, if you say this, if you do this, if you wipe these people out, it's going to look bad for the name of God. And I think sometimes we really don't understand the cost of our sin, and not just we're coming off of Easter, and not just the price that Christ had to pay for it, but the way that it gives God a bad reputation. As we are Christians and we represent him, we're being a bad representation many times and quite often. And I know that we're all going to stumble, but I want us to understand the reason that we all need to strive to be the best possible representation of Christ that we can be. And so with that, that's the legacy that we should desire to leave behind. But now here's the legacy that this generation is leaving behind. See, they gotten this bad report. And again, you can read through all of it to see that, man, how often do we hear the bad and not focus on the good? How often do we focus on how big the enemy is, but not how great our God is? And that's exactly what they were doing. And so as they're going through this and they have lost all faith in God, lost their hope in God, and they say, he just brought us out here to kill us all. Man, we should have stayed in Egypt. Well, then Moses, as we just read, he's praying and basically says, look, don't wipe them all out, but carry on. Let the punishment carry on to other generations, as you've said before. And so what ends up happening as you read on after this is that God does, he says that all those who were counted in the census would not see the promised land. Just as they had basically desired, they would drop dead in the wilderness one way or another. Even a little bit later on than this, some of them decide that they're going to, oh, well, wait a minute, we were wrong. We're going to go ahead and go into the promised land, but they go without the presence of God, without the presence of the ark, and God had already told them what was going to happen, and exactly what he said happened. And they were destroyed. But see, it was too late then. See, the legacy had already begun to be written. And it wasn't like this was the first time. This had happened so many times before. But see, there's two things I just want to say real quick as we come to a close of our time today. In prayer, we need to spend time in intercessory prayer. We see how important it is. Not just, so often we almost pray for judgment on others, but we need to pray for God's mercy on them as well. So often we act like the judge and the jury and we condemn people when our sin is equally as bad. So we need to pray for others. But then we also need to spend time in prayer asking God to reveal what legacy we are leaving behind. And I pray, as the Casting Crown song says, I pray that they see only Jesus. God bless you, and I pray you have a great, great day.